Hi, very good evening, everyone. Welcome to this exclusive webinar session, which we conduct for our teams, for our esteemed clients. And with this beautiful Independence Month, we could not find any other person better than a vintage and veteran of I would say, not now emerging, it's a developing AMC, which has recently completed 10 years of mutual fund management expertise. Parag Parikh Mutual Fund AMC, which is all-time favorite for most of our young investors, as well as a renowned, uh, uh, I would say, renowned people who are managing this particular AMC. Mr. Neil Parag Parikh, I could not say any other word to express my gratitude for him to take out time for us. And he need no introduction, but I will still take a chance to say a couple of words about him. He has been part of capital market for more than 2 decades, and with research, institutional desk, marketing, operations, broking, and key client management, he is already shown in various roles. He started his career with JM Morgan Stanley in 2003, and he has been part of Parag Parikh Financial Advisory Services since 2004 in various capacities. At PPFAS Mutual Fund, apart from handling key client relationship, he is also entrusted with the fulfillment of strategic responsibilities. Keeping with his father's, Mr. Parag Parikh, philosophy, Neil believes in value investing as a strong advocate of applying behavioral finance fundamentals in investing. At a chairman and CEO role, I wish Neil and the AMC very all the best for future endeavors. And with this, I would like to hand it over to Neil to share his valuable thoughts about what kind of investment philosophy the AMC follows, what all the key metrics they follow so as to give a good performing funds. They have given such a good funds to the public, and I would say everyone is just waiting for his thoughts. And without taking much time, I will hand it over to Neil. So, Neil, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohit, and thank you, Bajaj Finance team, for having me over. Really appreciate it. We'll talk about something very interesting and something is very practical. I think more, as investors, I think uh, we, uh, if we are introduced to the subject of behavioral finance, I think it'll help us to make actually better investment decisions. I think,
Sure.
or more than making investment decision, also is probably to not make some of the mistakes that we fall prey to. So I've got a small presentation made here, so I
Sure.
will just go through it, and
Yeah.
it's a field that is it's very practical. It's very interesting because we all are prey to behavioral biases or behavioral mistakes. And listen, I am also prey to all the things that I'm going to talk about. I'm also prey to all of that. So it's when I talk more about it, I think it's clarity in my mind also. So without a final ado, we'll carry on. So, why should we know or learn about behavioral finance? So, the traditional finance that we've been taught is that markets are efficient and people make rational decisions. But human beings, have a heart and a mind. So, we make a decision with our mind, which is the rational, and with our heart, which is emotional. So, we are more of emotional beings than rational beings. So, also the market is made of a lot of people's emotions and a lot of people's behavior. So markets are also not efficient at that as that. So market keeps giving us opportunities, and we need to take advantage of those opportunities because people behave differently. So just a small example here is that why do we spend on our kids birthday parties? I mean, that's not a rational thing to do. The rational thing to do would be to save that money, put it in a fund or any other investment avenue, and save it for a goal or invest it for a goal for his or her future, say, educational expenses. And that's the rational thing to do, that you maximize your money. But we have birthday parties because the smile on a kid's face is invaluable. You cannot put a price to that. So having that birthday party is important. Another example is when we rent a house versus buying a house. Now or the whole economic condition might be to in favor to rent a house. Rental yields would be low, or the home loans would be very expensive. But still we see people buying homes. Why do they buy homes when it's not the rational thing to do? Because having a home, having our own home, has a different feeling only about it. And I think all of y'all would agree about some of these things, or you can think about your own self about some of these things. So main thing is that we have a heart and a mind, and we are emotional beings, and we think with both the mind and the heart. So this is my father and a founder, Mr. Parag Parikh. So he's authored two books on behavioral finance. So I have been exposed to this subject from a very young age, when I didn't know also that I was getting exposed to it. So the way he's got into behavioral finance was that it was around 99 2000. The tech boom was there, and anything with a .com name was just going up. And it was going up, doubling, tripling in weeks time. And his clients would, and we were managing people's money, and we had clients who we were broking for, and they would come to him. He's like, no, this is doesn't make sense. There's no value. I mean, there's no fundamentals about this. So you should sell your stock. And they would come after 1 2 weeks and say, glad I didn't listen to you. I've doubled my money. This went on for some time, and my dad actually got a little. I would say he was a bit down and out, a little depressed also, that what is happening around me is something that I am being foolish, or the crowd knows something that I don't know. So then suddenly saw this ad in the Economist about behavioral finance, and and that time he had no clue what this was. So he said that, okay, let me do this course anyway. I'm going wrong. And when he went there, he learned about the behavioral finance. He got deep into it, and that's how we got into it. And that's how some of the things that are ingrained into PPF is through those learnings, and that's the way we kind of manage also the money and the investment. So that's the my introduction to behavioral finance. So the main thing is that, can you delay instant gratification? The inability to delay instant gratification is the root cause of all financial failure. Okay, I mean, I'll explain to you this. And why can't we not delay instant gratification? And instant gratification is, can you delay some of the expenditures, the discretionary expenses that you have, that you point out need right now, but you just have it right now? Can you delay it? The reason sometimes we can't is because human beings want something that is fast and easy, than what is necessary and what is important and what is sometimes going to take a long time. So we are always looking for shortcuts. Think about going to the gym. Now, going to the gym, if you need to lose weight, it doesn't happen overnight, right? It takes a long time. You have to go to the gym, you have to work out, you have to give it time, and over months or years you will see the results. Whereas today, people want it fast and easy. They'll go on these crazy diets, which will affect their health, or they'll take some pills which say that you will reduce weight, or they will go for surgery also. So we are always looking for shortcut. So inherently human beings are lazy. They're looking for shortcuts, or they want to do what is the easy way out. Even look at, I mean, and we all are like that. And we are greedy. We want more and more for something, and we're always looking for more. For example, if I offer you one 8-inch pizza and one 12-inch pizza, and I say both of them are the same price, even though you cannot have the 12-inch pizza, then you cannot finish the 12-inch pizza, most people will take the 12-inch pizza because they're getting more for the same amount. So inherently we are lazy. We're looking for shorter term, we're looking for shortcuts, and we're looking for more and more stuff. And that's all of us together. So that's one. And we're always looking for cause and effect. We need immediate feedback. What does that mean? When I clap my hand, I hit my hand on the other hand, I get a noise, the clap noise. So I get a feedback immediately. The thing is that we want the immediacy of it. We want everything instant. We are living in an instant world, instant noodle and instant packaging, and everything is instant. And we want that feedback, and it gets faster and faster with social media that's there today. So sometimes it's very hard to do an action and wait for it for a long time for the results to come. Uh, we get bored easily, we lose patience, we're looking for excitement and new things. That's why we go to casinos. That's why we bet on IPL, because you get the instant reaction.
Yeah.
And also, even look at cricket. When I'm talking about cricket, look at cricket. The 5-day test match has become into 2020, because we are
Seriously.
because we are losing patience, we get bored easily, and our whole life, everything is just becoming shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is, we are giving us short-term pain but long-term pain. Now, a couple of examples from real life is that, when we were students, and I'm sure we all have done that. When we are students, or when they're students and then the exam is there, You will not
Yeah.
study until the last day, right? You will cramp up everything and you will give your exam. You will pass, mind you, you will pass, but have you learned anything? You know,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
that's the long term pain. Look at elections. Elections are coming up now. After before 6 months before the elections, people will start, or parties, political parties will start doling out freebies. They might win the election,
Hmm.
but that's the right thing for the country or for those people that are giving them freebies. So long term pain is there. Now
Absolutely.
when we delay instant gratification, it's the opposite. Can you take some short term pain because the long term gain will be there? So look at why people are more interested today in day trading or options trading and futures trading and all, because in the end of the day they know exactly how much they make. Profit
Hmm.
loss is there. Investing, I'm telling you that boss, 5 years you have to invest. More tells you, listen, invest for the long term. But the problem is we can't do it. Some people can't do it is because the the results is 5 years down the line. But in
Hmm.
day trading, you will get to know immediately. So it's very, very tough. So patience and discipline are key to success and wealth. So have that in mind. And that's why this field is very interesting and it's very practical, to be very honest. What I'm telling you is in some form we all know about it. And the whole presentation is about things that we've all have been in some way we know about it. I'm just trying to put it into a one way. So habits from behavior, the good habits we do, the good behavior we do. So if we wake up early in the morning, if we cook food instead of ordering Swiggy, or if we exercise every day, we are healthier, mind is healthier, and we all know the benefits of all these things. So good habit is like something like a sip. Continue your sips, have your sips. That's a
Hmm.
great behavior, great habit to have, which will form a behavior over a longer term. So good behavior, good habits create good behavior. On the other hand, bad habits create bad behavior. You want instant stuff, you want fast food, you want to consume social media late at night. You cannot wake up in the morning and you're rushing to work, you're tired at work. It creates bad behavior, and honestly that will affect your health, it will affect your professional life, it will affect everything. Similarly, in investing also, we need to have good habits and we need to stay away from bad habits. And that is
Yeah.
pretty much what this is about. And this is and why is this field so important for financial success? Today, this is the only field where ordinary people with no formal training can excel. Now, today, if anyone wants to become a nuclear scientist, you cannot become a nuclear scientist. You cannot become a doctor. You cannot become a lawyer
Yeah.
until you've studied, you've gone through those years of training, of getting passing exams and all, and then only you can become that. But
Hmm.
in the field of investment, success in investing doesn't correlate with IQ, which is intelligent quotient.
Yeah.
Once you are at the level of 25, once you have ordinary intelligence, what you need is a temperament to control the urges that get other people into trouble in investing. This is by Mr. Warren Buffett. This is the very famous investor. And that's what it is about. In investing is one field where anybody, you don't need formal training, you can become successful, you can become rich, you can become wealthy. All you need is your EQ to be more than your IQ. Your EQ is
Hmm.
more important than the IQ. And by EQ, it is the emotional quotient or your temperament. Basically, how you react in extreme turmoil, or can you do normal or ordinary things when things around you are going crazy? That's pretty much it. Continuous sips when things are up, down, whatever it is, just continue, have some form of discipline when you're doing it, and you will be absolutely fine. So that's what this field is very important, and why as any no as any ordinary person can become an expert or can be very successful here. So let's talk about elements that trigger our investing behavior. I've spoken about greed. We are always running after something or the other. You're more likely to take impulsive decision. Oh, your friends have invested or something,
Yeah.
or bitcoins are there, you will invest in bitcoins or something
True.
like that. We'll keep running after things, we'll keep running after the new. We'll not just stay steady and say, okay, this is my plan, I've done it, I will stick to it. But no, I've seen a lot of people, when times are good or when markets are rising, they will do the most stupid things, okay, which are not necessary, which will lose. They will do anything for short term gain, but long term they will have a lot of pain. Greed
Yeah.
gets you into that. Another thing, very, very, very common these days, is FOMO, envy. My friend or my colleague has invested here and he's making so much returns, I should also invest. Forget my plan, I'll just go invest because everyone around me is making
Yes.
money. One
Yeah.
thing is that remember, people are only going to talk about their winners. Nobody talks about their losers. So whatever so he might talk about one thing that he's made money, but there might be 10 other things that he's losing money on. But people love talking about what what they have done right and not what they have done wrong, because they don't want humiliation. So a lot of it is FOMO is because you will get into things that you don't understand, because you're looking at other people, you're not looking at yourself, and then you will get into those things where you don't know if the price is right or wrong, and which has got people into a lot of trouble in the recent past, because they've just I ask people, why have you done that? I mean, no, somebody has told me, somebody did this, my
Hmm.
father, mother, sister, whatever has invested, and I also invested without
True.
thinking. So be careful about FOMO or envy. Don't have that. Overconfidence, nothing will go wrong. People, during at least during bull markets or when things are rising, if they make money in one stock or one fund, they overestimate their competence. They think it's because of them, it's not because of luck or because the markets are rising. They get more and more overconfident. They will go out there, they will all sound like they've been expert investors, and that overconfidence just goes on and on, and you take more and more risks. You don't look at the you don't so you only look at the returns. You will
Yeah.
not look at the risk part, which is the most important. You should look at the risk part. So then you start taking more and more risks. You will start, if you made money in, say, a small cap stock, you will only start investing in more and more small caps, and you will
Hmm.
make the other part of your portfolio less, and you will do that because you made money there. The overconfidence will take you has got a lot of people in trouble, and then eventually you, when the party is over, I think then we know sometimes what happens when overconfidence is there. It's quite terrifying when this ends. And the other thing is the margin of safety. Look, in this picture, there's actually no margin of safety, right? I mean, if the margin of safety or margin for error. So if
Yeah.
the truck goes little left or right, something will fall down or somebody will
Yep.
get hurt. So there's no margin for error. And we are very good with margin of safety in our day-to-day life. Say, for example, when we are driving a car, we keep a normal distance between the car in front of us. I mean, if he
Yes.
brakes, if something happens, if somebody crosses the road, if a bike comes, then I have to keep some road so I don't bang into it. So we
Hmm.
understand the concept of margin of safety. We go early to the airport. If you're flying, it says that the gate will close 45 minutes before the flight. But we all go 1.5, 2 hours earlier. What if there's a traffic on the road? What if there's
Hmm.
bad weather? Or what if there's something, something or the other, where the political rally or something, I will get stuck. So let me keep that margin of safety to reach early. So we understand this concept, but when it comes to investing, sometimes we don't. That's why people will invest when things are already gone up, or they will invest via tips or something of the stock, where you don't know anything, where there's no margin of safety, because if things go little wrong, that can go down fully. So one thing is that when you're making financial plans, or when you're making business plans or any of those things, so keep some margin for uncertainty. We know that life is
Hmm.
not certain. So when I see sometimes the plans that are made, it's to perfection, that, oh, I will live till 80, oh, I will keep earning this much money, I will save so much, and this much will for this goal, that goal, whichever goal, which is great. Okay, you have money for the goal, but also save for uncertainty. Today nobody knew that a COVID was going to hit, and we saw that people who didn't have that margin for of safety or the extra money, they had to sell their good investments, or
Hmm.
they went through really bad time. So always have some margin for going wrong, or for errors, or for uncertainty mainly. So save more than what you really need. That's the main thing. And buy when things are not looking very great. Buying low and selling high is the only way to make money. So I see people getting into very hyped up stuff, and there's no margin for safety there. So be aware about this concept also, margin of safety.
So, Neil,
So
just to intervene here,
yeah,
there is a saying that invest when the market is scary or people
yes,
are selling, and
yes,
buy when everyone is selling, and sell when
yes,
everyone is bullish. So, what are your
absolutely.
thoughts on this? Does it relate to
Uh,
this? What you
yes,
just said?
it's absolutely relates to this, and it's easier said than done. Let me tell you, it sounds so easy
Yeah.
to do this, and that this is where I am coming now. the biases that affect decision making. So
Hmm.
Mohit, let me just get through these 4 5 points,
Sure.
and maybe it'll get a little more clearer about
Sure.
how we can do these things. So what you
Fair.
said is absolutely right. We have to do that. In theory, it sounds amazing that buy when others are selling and sell. Be greedy when others are fearful,
Yeah.
fearful when others are greedy, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
how do you do that? Because sometimes it's very hard to do that, and I'll tell you
Hmm.
why it's so hard to do that, and how we can actually try to be better investors because of that.
Okay.
Okay, so these biases, we all faced all these biases, okay, and in
Hmm.
some way or the other, when I talk about these, you should just think back at your life and say that, oh, this is a bias that I felt, or you would have felt all these biases. Now,
Hmm.
being aware is one thing, and is the main thing is to be aware of this, and how you can actually take advantage of this. We'll talk after that. Availability bias. Okay, we rely on information that comes relative to mind when evaluating a situation or make decisions. So we use information which is recent, frequent, and extreme. Okay, so today this is actually very true. Today, for example, I'll give you one example. Today you go to Facebook and you read an article about something. Okay, and you just read that article. After that, Facebook will only show you that kind of articles, right?
Yes.
They'll only show you that. So they want you, so they are kind of so giving you information of what they think you're interested in, and they keep bombarding you with all this
Hmm.
all these articles. And surely you'll read, and sometimes you'll just you'll give in to those things, because you're reading articles. That's the availability bias. That's the available information to you. Today, you go to Twitter and all, people will talk about one two stocks or one two sectors, and the media will talk about some of these things, and that bias is there, and you're like, oh, am I missing out on something? That FOMO will come. The
Hmm.
availability bias is so strong that you will only take that little piece of information and you will buy. Also on tips, and that's how tips work, because more and more people give tips, more and more people buy, because the
True.
availability is so much. When everyone is talking, acha kuch to hoga isme, right? But what we are missing out is all the other information. We are only using the one that we are hearing, which is very close to us, from the media, from social media, from your friends, and that's how you're making decision. But that's a very wrong way to make decisions, right? You're not having the complete picture in mind while making a decision. So when these things are happening, be certain. So Mohit, here again, be fearful when others are greedy. So when someone is being extremely when a lot of that is being said, that is the time
Hmm.
to be fearful about some of these ideas. So the availability bias, be very careful about that.
Hmm.
When you have availability bias and when you buy the stock, then you want confirmation bias. So, you know what? People don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth. So they want to confirm. So
Hmm.
people just want their thoughts to be confirmed. And what do you do then when you have confirmation bias? You will read only stories that confirm to you. You will follow people that have the similar thoughts to you.
Hmm.
You will read publications, or you will go, or you will meet only friends that have the similar view of like you. But instead, one of the things in the market you should need to do is to have different opinions. To have you don't you to be a successful investor, you need the opposite view also to get the full
Yeah.
picture. But we all of us have this confirmation bias. We all, if we have something, we want it to be confirmed by somebody else, and
Hmm.
we want them to say what we want to hear, right? So that's the
Absolutely.
confirmation bias. Next, what happens? Herd mentality bias. Okay, so just so it's quite a very apt photo. Be careful when you blindly follow the masses. Sometimes the M is silent, so you know who are you following, right? Sometimes. So imagine this. Just imagine the situation. You are on the traffic signal. It's a red
Hmm.
light. Okay. One car breaks the signal and goes. Other one two cars sees this. No cop is catching. They also go. Suddenly, everyone starts honking and everyone
Hmm.
starts going. But you stay in your position. You don't move because it's red light. You are following the law. But even when you're doing the right thing, you're getting galis. People are abusing you.
Yes.
People are honking at you. People are giving you bad looks. Then why are you not breaking the signal? When everyone is breaking the signal, why are you not breaking the signal?
Yeah.
So sometimes when you don't follow the masses, or you don't have herd mentality, you look like a fool, right? So that is why
True.
people follow the herd, because they don't want to. They have comfort with the crowd, less regret if things go wrong. So today you would see, so a couple of years, international funds were very, international investing was very much in vogue, right? And then you
Hmm.
saw scheme launches of international funds, and you can see this over time about whenever something is hot, a lot of scheme launches happen. A lot of
Yeah.
people are talking about it. The reason why they do it is because, okay, everyone is doing it, let me also do it. So if we all go wrong, then we all go wrong. How does it matter? But if you are away from the crowd and you're doing something which is contrarian, it might
Hmm.
be right, but for a long time you can look like a fool.
Yeah.
So short-term pain can be there, but
Yeah.
long-term gain could be there by not following the crowd. And that's
Yes.
why you chase fads and fancies, things which are overpriced because everyone is doing it. मैं भी करूँगा, you know. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. You need to be very careful about chasing the herd blindly. Sometimes it makes sense. Like imagine if there's a fire and everyone is running one way, you'll
Hmm.
be a fool to run towards the fire, right? So sometimes it makes sense to be with the herd, but in finance and in investing, most time it doesn't make sense to be with the herd. Again, anchoring bias is very strong. It's all over. It's all around us. You take anything. So in this picture, this person goes to buy a car. It's $30,000. It's very expensive, but he goes, and if he goes and he sees this, that it was 60,000, now it's 30,000. Oh wow, it's a great deal. So we are anchored to the first piece of information we've got. So and I'm sure we all have faced this, or we have friends this, that they might have bought a stock on a tip, say for 100 rupees. Now that has gone to 40 rupees. So we're like, okay, why don't you go sell it and all that? No, no, I bought it at 100 rupees, so I will sell it then. But is 100 rupees the fair value of this? Why have you
Yeah.
bought it? So and because you're not selling it, you're missing out on other opportunities. The opportunity cost of doing it is quite high then, and then what happens is that people will keep losers and will sell all their winners, and I've seen this is a very common thing. When I see people's portfolio, they're only losers. I'm like, boss, paisa nahi banaya kya? I mean, not made any money. He's like, nahi, I have sold all those out. Why? No, because they were making money. But I'm like, those were the good investments. Why did you sell that and kept all this? He's like, no, because my buy price was there. So they're anchored to their buy price. Now, sometimes you made a mistake, just get out of it. There's no point getting to my buy price and all that, because you're missing out on a lot of other opportunities.
Uh,
So
uh,
anchoring is very strong in people's mind. It's all over us. When we go to retail stores and all this discount and all is all playing on your anchoring bias only. That you see there are discounts, but there are probably not much discount actually when you see it. So please be careful of anchoring bias. This is very, very important thing. If you bought something without thinking or without doing any research and that's gone down, then sometimes it makes sense to sell it and get into something which is actually doing good. So anchoring, be careful of this. Endowment bias, again, very strong on people. If it's mine, it's very valuable. If it's yours, it's not that valuable. So if you own those stocks or those whatever, if you own any security or any asset, it's valuable. So you would
uh,
want to sell your house for say 100 rupees, but you would want to buy the same house for 60 rupees because it's not yours,
True.
right? That's and that these are the biases that keep coming to me, to all of us. So for me, the endowment bias is very strong, because when somebody asks me, Neil, what mutual fund should I buy? Like now, I am the owner of the mutual fund. I'm the CEO. All my investments are. What do you think my answer would be? Because my endowment is so strong, I would say PPFAS. I'm not the right guy to ask for probably mutual fund advice, because I am going to be very biased. So again, so when you're asking, so here you should be concerned about who are you asking, and are they suffering from endowment bias? Because a lot of
Hmm.
this will also be then in parties and all, people will say, "Are you buy this, you buy this, you buy this," and why? "Are मैंने लिया है ना, मैंने I have bought it, so you also buy it." So they will try to make a herd mentality out of it. So again, be careful here. And again, in retailing, this is very common. So I'll just give you an example about myself. Okay, so 2 months back, me and my wife we were renovating our house. Okay, and we had gone to look for furniture,
Hmm.
and I really liked this. And we were in the shop. I said, I like the furniture. I like one table. My wife didn't like it at all. I'm like, no, I like it. She's like, no, I don't like it. I don't like the
Hmm.
color. So the shopkeeper is telling us that, why are you arguing here? Why don't you just take this and keep it in your house for a week? After a week, if you don't like it, you send it back. Now, once it's in my house, once I found a place for that furniture,
Yes.
it becomes part of my endowment. I did sell it 9 out of 10 times. That those things don't go back to the shop. You will buy
True.
it. TVs, microwaves, all those things you buy
Yes.
because you see that
You
fits.
get used to it. Yeah.
You get used to it. It's an endowment. So don't get married to your stocks or your investments if sometimes you're doing, or if you've just bought it out of without thinking. So endowment biases is something that you need to look at.
Hmm.
And another one is survivorship bias, or you can say selection bias. So sometimes, so for example, if you're looking at data, say for the last 10 years of American or American tech stocks, so you will only take which have survived, those 10-year period. So you will take a
Hmm.
Google, Microsoft, all these things, right? Which has survived the last 10 years. But for every stock that has survived, there are thousands which have not survived. So all your data that you're taking is very biased. So it's called the survivorship bias. So
Hmm.
again, when you're looking at things, look at it as a holistic kind of thing. So an example from the mutual fund industry is that fund houses have multiple schemes, right? At any time, one or two schemes would be doing well. They have 50, 40, 50 schemes, one, two will do well at any given point. In that period, they have
Hmm.
survived and done well. So they'll say, "Arey, look how I've done. I've done great here. Should buy this." So one thing you need to see is that, and also in fintech platforms and a lot of the platforms, I've seen that, last 3 or 6 months, these funds have given 40, 50% returns or whatever. But they've
Hmm.
given it a shorter time. You have to see in a longer space what has happened. So don't
Yes.
get into survivorship bias in the sense that look at what is being sold to you and look at it in a holistic manner. Don't look at it only from a point to point manner.
Absolutely.
So, can we do anything about these biases? So, one thing is we all suffer from these biases. Everyone suffers from these biases. So, one thing we can just do is that these biases, just knowing about these biases can help us be better investors and not make some mistakes. Not making one, two of these mistakes or doing one, two things right can help us compounding like crazy over time. So, one thing is be aware about these things. Like I said, be aware. There are a lot of material about all these things available. If you want, if you're interested, there are books, articles, quizzes, everything is there. So the main thing is be aware of the biases. There's not much you can do all the time about it. Just be aware. Like if someone is coming with you something, oh, you can think, oh, is this bias in work, or is this bias in work, and then you can make a more informed decision. So it helps in your decision making to understand the biases. Like I said, some of these books are there. These authors, Morgan Housel, Danny Kamen, all these guys are there. They've written a lot of literature on this. So it's good to know. It's a very practical thing to know, and you can make actually it can help you not only in investing but in day to day life also to be better to make better decisions. So seek a financial advisor. Listen, I think the main thing is that having a different, exposing yourself to different perspectives, interacting with people from different backgrounds and cultures, or having someone an expert also helping you out is a great deal. Sometimes people try to do everything by themselves, where again it's maybe overconfidence or whatever it might be. That they don't want to seek out help, but it's very important to seek out help sometimes, not only in finance, in other things in your life. If you're going through some mental issues or something like that, it's better to seek out help about any of those things. From a financial advisor's point of view, you also need to know about people's biases and how to help them with the biases. These are the main things. I think they will be very long-term clients of yours once you help them with these behavioral things. And products and all that is, I think, secondary. Once you get this framework in check, then I think more or less you'll be fine in whatever products or whichever fund houses you all invest in. So I think knowing behavior and speaking about these biases can be very helpful. Control the controllables. What is in your hand? One is keeping your expenses down and increasing your savings rate. I mean, there's nothing me and you can sit here and do anything about the war in Russia or the interest rates or oil prices. That is what it is. I mean, that's a certainty about taxes. Those are things that are going to be there, and we are forced to do it. What is in our hands to keep our expenses in check? And I get it. People have expenses, normal basic expenses people have. People want some comforts over that and want to, and a little bit of luxury also, and everyone wants that. That's great. But all those expenses that you're doing, make sure you're doing it for yourself. So main thing what I am seeing these days is the ego takes part. People want to show other people about what they want. So not caring what people think means desiring less. Desiring less means spending less, and spending less means savings more. So even if you buy a fancy car, for example, you think, oh, people will see me in it. People are not seeing you. People are seeing the car. People are thinking about themselves in the car. Very few people will think about you, to be very honest. So keeping
True.
your ego in check, or keeping those egoistic expenses or the discretionary expenses. This is again, can you delay that gratification? Can that car be bought after a few years when you're more in control of your life? Then we should do that. Saving is key, and having a long term kind of a patience is important. Having a goal plan is very important. Please write down some of these things. Have a goal, a plan, because then you don't go overboard in buying something. If your plan says that I need to stick to this kind of allocation, then please stick to that. More or less, little bit tweaks here and there is fine, but don't make wholesale changes because some asset class is doing well. If bitcoins are doing well, people will start by just go crazy buying bitcoin. And that's what happened to one of our clients. So he had invested some 15 lakhs with us, which had gone to like about almost a crore. Amazing returns he had got, okay? And suddenly his friends started buying bitcoins and getting into cryptos. So he also started, he's like, oh, my friends have made all this money. Let me also see what it is. So he started reading things which were just confirming to, oh, bitcoins are great, bitcoins are great, bitcoins are great. Confirmation bias, FOMO is all working with there. And he comes to me, he's like, listen, I'm going to sell everything and I'm going to get into Bitcoin. And I'm like, boss, just okay, have a asset and you want to play with some of these things, keep 10% of it or whatever, something that
Yeah.
you're fine to lose the whole thing. But no, this guy, he sold all the mutual fund and he bought only Bitcoin. And then we know what's happened, not Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, whichever. And now you
Yeah.
know what has happened. So, I mean, have an asset allocation or a go plan in place so you don't deviate too much from there. Even if you get a little bit of greed, or if you want to do some musty with your money, you have that leeway, have that margin of safety to do musty with your money also. That's fine.
Hmm.
And diversify your portfolio, very important. And invest in things that you understand and keep it simple. When you sleep at night, you should know where your money is invested. If you don't understand cryptocurrency, don't invest there. You don't have to invest everywhere. So keep it
Yeah.
simple. And today people come to me, they show me the portfolios. There are almost like 10 small cap funds or 10 large cap funds. That is not diversification. Diversification are having things that go the opposite way, are having low correlation. So this is a very good thing to have to diversify a portfolio, having different asset class. So you don't go overboard in one, and when things fall and things rise, you can rebalance the portfolio every 6 months, 1 year. So diversifying a portfolio is important, and think long term, boss. I mean, I think
Hmm.
wealth is not created overnight. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Again, the gym example. If you are going to the gym, it takes time to build your body or to lose weight. It doesn't happen overnight. A lot of things takes a lot of time. A tree takes years to become into a seed takes years to grow into a tree. There's
Yeah.
nothing that can make the seed grow to a big tree in 2 days. So even the nature is telling you, the law of the farm, the nature is telling you that, boss, things take time to blossom and to bear fruit.
Absolutely.
Same is with building wealth. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And this is
In
the
fact,
reason.
Warren Buffett says that invest and forget. It's
Yeah.
not an overnight game. I believe that holds true when we say that yes, we have to think long term.
Yes.
It's not an overnight game that next day you will
Absolutely.
get some double of money.
Yeah,
True.
and absolutely, because today me and you will say, okay, you have to invest for 5 year plus to, for the compounding to actually take place. But if you
True.
see the data, people are staying invested in funds or equity for less than 2 years.
Yeah.
So again, that
True.
short term gain is very strong. That ability to delay gratification has to be strong. So
Absolutely.
so here, why investments have done well, but investors have done poorly. The
Hmm.
investors have only done poorly because they couldn't hold their urges, when things have gone either too up or too down. So think of it your life also, right? In our lives also, mostly everything's in cruise control. Every day is not an exciting day. Let's put it this way,
Yeah.
right? It's a very routine day. For years and all, it's a routine day. Things will happen. But there will be some times in your life where, okay, what you did during this period really mattered, and those are only 4 or 5 times in your lifetime you'll have those opportunities. So in those turbulent times, can you control your urges? Don't do anything stupid. By that I mean that I know people who didn't need money during COVID. Obviously, there were people who needed money in COVID and they had to sell their investment, and that's absolutely fine when you go through those times. But I'm saying, people who didn't need the money, they just got scared during COVID and sold everything, saying that world is going to end and all those things,
Yeah.
and they are not able to enter the markets even today. So one thing is that if your sips are going, let the sips go. If you don't feel like investing more, don't invest, but have some have a kind of a systematic way of investing. So and the way and why SIPs people are saying is because it takes the behavior out of you.
Yeah.
You're not influenced by the behavior or where the market is going. Every month is going market up or market down, you're investing, and over time that works out brilliantly. So basically, my main thing is that when things are going crazy, when there's volatility, and markets are supposed to be volatile. Inherently, the markets are volatile. Even our lives is not a straight line. Our life is not a straight line. There are ups and downs for everything. So in those ups and down period, be very equanimous, or be make sure that you behave very well during those times. And I think there's a lot of wealth to be made afterwards in your life. So
In fact, yeah, I'll just take a moment on that last
please,
slide which you have just
yeah,
shown.
yeah,
Um, with a recent example, 15 days before when market was at almost at peak, somebody, a colleague of mine, he just asked that I want to invest some lump sum amount. So should I wait or should I invest? So I told him that no one can predict the market, no one can time the market. But if you want to invest, invest today, but in a systematic way, right? Put a STP of a weekly basis or a fortnightly basis, and that will keeps you going. And plus, you can start an SIP even if markets go down or up. The rupee averaging, which is a very basic formula we always teach, that will work, and definitely it will be a good thing. So he's quite happy today. He
yeah,
just called me up. He said he took the advice and he started STP, and
mm,
he was saying that yes, it's good that I didn't invest a lump sum amount at 70,000 of market.
mm,
Instead, he started doing the systematic investment. So now at least he has some kind of relaxation, that his NAVs are getting relaxed. So I believe yes, systematic investment, whether it is STP or SIP,
mm,
definitely gives you edge not only through a disciplined investment approach, but a kind of safety and averaging, which is beneficial in long term. So
yes.
I would definitely say no one can time the market, but you can understand how to handle the market's
Yeah.
volatility in a much better way.
Yeah, so Mohit, so interesting there where you said that I've seen that during these market turbulent times, people will stop their SIPs, and
Yeah,
that's actually the worst thing to do, is to stop your
exactly. In
SIP.
fact, that's the best time to
Best
keep
time.
SIP going.
Exactly, exactly. So I think what both of us are trying to say is that just be disciplined. Even if you don't want to add
Yes.
more when you feel like adding more,
Yeah,
just keep the discipline going. And I think there's enough, like, and that will take you very well over your lifetime. Over time that will take
absolutely.
it. But you have to give it time, and you have to not do crazy stuff when things are crazy. Just do the ordinary
Yes,
stuff when things are crazy. That's it.
absolutely.
So, Mohit, here's your slide. I had also written this. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy
Yeah,
when others are fearful. And hopefully,
absolutely.
it's easier said than done. I said the first time, right? But hopefully, after getting some of this information, and if you all want more information about biases, it's slightly better. I mean, we can
Right.
make be little more informed decisions about it. So that's there. And when you enter any of our offices in Mumbai, then this is the thing that greets you with the first thing.
Hmm.
Equanimity, not genius, leads to riches. So
True.
things are not as good, or not they're not as bad as they seem. Be very equanimous, or be very normal when things are bad or good, and just do what you're supposed to do. Just have that discipline, have a long term kind of a commitment to your investments. And I
Yeah,
think and let compounding do its trick. And I think we'll be better off, all of us, from that. So that's
certainly, certainly.
all I can say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Neil. And as I was mentioning, that yes, you and your clear thoughts with the real time examples which people can relate definitely helps the investor to make some wise decision.
Thank
Coming back to earlier slides of yours where you mentioned that there is no shortcut to the investment. So, what is your advice for the first time investors who want to start investing journey through mutual funds? So, is there any advice for such kind of investors?
Yes, there is actually one thing which I think is very important, is that only invest for first time investor, only invest that money which you can leave for a longer time in equities. So
Hmm.
because equity is a long term product. So
Yeah.
if you think you have some expenses coming the next 2 or 3 years, then maybe
Yeah.
that money can be put into debt or something safer in that way. But anything that requires doesn't require, if you don't require that money for the first 5 years, that
Mhm.
money put into equities. And I think over 5, 7, 10 years we've seen it's pretty good. What we don't know, like you had mentioned earlier, is that what's the timing of the market. you know
Yeah.
uh, there's uncertainty all around us. I mean,
True.
in Feb 2020, we would never know that COVID's going to hit and we're going to be in a
Yeah.
lockdown and any of those things, or the market's going to bounce back also so quickly. So uncertainty is there in the short term, but over a longer term, that
Yeah.
gets corrected. And like you said, investments have done well, but investors have done poorly because they take out money at the wrong time.
Right, right. In fact, one of the slide where you showed the endowment biases, and we concluded that yes, investors should not be attached to their stocks, and so I believe portfolio review is something which is the core of the same. So I normally give examples in my trainings or interactions with people that yes, even if you have a diet goal of yours, right, and you are planning that yes, I want to shed this much of weight or I have to build this much of muscles, you always have a plan in mind, and you always review it on regular basis that yes, what is lacking and where I need to do. So why, when we are doing it for financial like our physical fitness, health checkup, why not financial checkup? Because that is also required in such kind of market scenarios. As you rightly said, no asset class performs well at a certain time. Every asset class has its own time. Sometimes gold, sometimes equity, sometimes real estate, sometimes debt. So of course, right asset allocation and timely review of the same
Yeah.
definitely helps to keep a check on the financial health of the customer.
Yeah. So
So
Mohit, just one thing I want to add here. So sometimes when you make a financial plan and you have that, sometimes in your life things change. You have a
yes,
baby or you get
yes,
married, then you can't go with that same plan. So that's the time to actually
true,
review it even further. One
true,
other
true.
thing that I had said, and I think, I really believe in it, is that okay, you can save and invest for goals, but you have to
Yeah,
save and invest for uncertainty also. A lot
absolutely.
of people just invest for goals and they think, oh, that's done. But then there are certain uncertainties. There can be health related issues,
Yeah,
someone in your
yeah,
family passing out, passing
yes,
away, or for whatever else. There are hundreds, and I
yes,
mean, there are hundreds of problems that can hit us. But we don't take those seriously because we cannot foresee those problems. But
hmm.
those will happen in all our lives. Some
Yes,
bad
yes,
things,
yes,
some bad surprises will happen in all our life. So having that uncertainty, so invest for uncertainty and invest
hmm.
more than you're supposed to invest. So and invest
True.
more than you're supposed to invest. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Neil, anything you want to share about the uh, Parag Parikh AMC? That what kind of philosophy your AMC follows, which helps investors to earn so much of returns in the past, and your AMC is so much consistent in the last 1 decade, and giving some good portfolio construction for the customers. So, anything you want to share about the AMC?
Yeah, so I think returns is one thing, but what we focus is more on the risk part of it, the downside protection. So
Yeah.
one thing, through this behavioral finance only, we've understood that sometimes it's okay to take short term pain if it's going to benefit in the long term. So
Yeah.
sometimes we don't force ourselves to invest if we think opportunities are not there or valuations are not that favorable. So we don't
Hmm.
mind being sometimes in cash, which over, and if the markets continue to go up, we will surely underperform in the shorter run, 6 months,
Right.
1 year, whatever. But it's okay because the flip side is even worse, because if you take more and more risk in that short term, in the short term
Hmm.
you'll be making, oh wow, the it's looking very good. But when things fall off a cliff, then those things actually go down much more than you made. So
Hmm.
it's okay, sometimes we are okay, we don't need to be performing every 1 month, 3 month, quarterly,
Hmm.
6 monthly,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we don't mind short term underperformance if it's
Right.
going to benefit over the longer term. So I think that's kind of the philosophy, like just do common sense investing and don't go overboard. And if you don't have conviction in something, then better to be
Hmm.
in cash, so that's kind of what it is.
Certainly. Certainly. I think such kind of words definitely gives the impression to the customers and viewers that yes, how to consider any particular fund whenever they are reviewing their own portfolio. It's not always about the returns, but it's about the risk handling as well. That how, what is the approach and what is the investment philosophy and expertise of the team who is managing the critical funds of yours. Great. With this, Mr. Parekh, I am done with the questions.
Thank Hello. I think I've lost Mohit. I don't know if the viewers can hear me, but uh, thank you, Mohit, if you can hear me, and thank you, team.
Yeah.
I think Mohit, I think we lost each other.
So I could see some turbulence in my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
screen. So thank you so much, viewers, and thank you, Mr. Parikh, for your valuable time. And I will definitely say that we will have much more exciting such kind of webinars and interactions in future. And all the best once again, Parag Parikh, AMC. And I wish the AMC do wonders in future again. And thank you so much, all our viewers. And you can definitely, those who have missed, to attend the complete webinar can go to our social media platforms and can definitely explore the same further. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you,
viewers. Thank you, Neil. Thank you so much.
thank you, thank you.
Well,
Okay.